everyone, I'm Alyssa.
And I'm Brandon. And we're the
Wagners. We're a husband-wife duo who travel all around the country since 2021 for Brandon's travel nursing job.
We love hiking, car camping, new cities, and of course, the best food and drink. Along with adventure, we always look for ways to keep our travel budget-friendly.
So pack your bags and join us as we wander together. Guten Tag, Wanderers. Welcome to Cologne, Germany. Right away, let's clear the air. The English spelling and pronunciation of the city is Cologne, like the perfume, but I asked the local at our hotel the correct pronunciation, and she said it is Köln. So if you're looking at an English map and you see Cologne, Germany, that is indeed where we are, but I will be referring to it as Köln since it's a German name, and this is a German city. Therefore, the name should be left alone. Okay, so first off, just a few notes. First of all, why Cologne? We really wanted to go to Germany, but we were looking on places on the western side of Germany, so it would be easier from our other excursions as we were coming from London for this one. And we kind of liked that it was a lesser known place. We kind of felt like we would have like a more authentic German experience here. We saw some attractions that looked really fun, so we just decided to roll with this one. So same as everywhere that I've said before, getting into the country was really easy. We just waited in line and someone pulled us up to the desk and stamped our passport, and then we were ready to roll. So we took another high-speed train from the airport into the city where our hotel is. So again, easy transportation. I promise you, while you're in Europe, you will not have to deal with any sort of insane transportation. Everything will be really nice and simple for you. Okay, so let's dive right in. So after arriving and checking into our hotel, our first order of business was lunch. We got a discount at the restaurant attached to our hotel, which was great because they served a lot of typical German bar-style food, so we could try some exciting classics. We got a pretzel to start, which actually came unsalted and with a lot of butter, and it was really, really good. And we got flammkuchen, which is like German pizza. It's on a really thin flatbread with cheese and different toppings. And we got currywurst, which is essentially a brat seasoned with curry, which I thought was funny because when you think of dishes with curry, you think Indian, but we actually saw these currywursts at a few different places. And of course, our fries came with mayonnaise, and we got Apfelwein or apple wine, and Kölsch, which is a beer that's only made here in Köln, and we'll talk more about that a little later. So, time for dessert. Where should we go? I think I could go for some chocolate. I know, why don't we go to the Lindt chocolate factory for some fresh, just made chocolate? It's only about a few minute walk from the hotel and Center City. So the Lindt factory has a lot of different parts, but they're all housed in the same building. There's the chocolate museum, the factory, the cafe, and the retail store. So let's learn before we play, so let's do the museum first. So not to flex, but Brandon and I are actually semi-versed in the production of chocolate. So we're from Central Pennsylvania, and Hershey, Pennsylvania, where they make Hershey's chocolate, was only like 20 minutes from our apartment in Pennsylvania. And one of the main attractions there is a place called Chocolate World, which is just like a big store, but it has a food court, and then there's a free ride that takes you through the process of making chocolate from farming to production to shipping. So we already knew a little bit, but this museum is still really fun and really informative. They even have a little greenhouse, which is really humid because it simulates the climate the cocoa beans grow in, and they even have some cocoa beans in there, as well as bananas and other tropical plants. So I really liked how this museum broke down the consumption of chocolate by country and what kinds are most popular in each place. And don't worry, all these exhibits are presented in both German and English, so we were able to understand everything. Admission to the museum is 14.5 euros for adults on weekdays, 16 euros on weekends and bank holidays, 8.5 euros for kids up to 18 on weekdays. Kids under 6 are free. A family ticket is 37.5 euros, 11 for students, 13 for seniors, and 8.5 for people with disabilities, and free for the person accompanying them. So those are all the weekday prices. The weekends are about 2 euros more. They're open every day from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. You can pre-order your tickets online if you would like, or you can buy them in person when you arrive. They do offer guided tours, but make sure you check the language before you purchase one, as most of the tours are in German. So we wanted to do one that day, but they didn't have a lot of English options, so we didn't get to. But that's okay because, like I said, the museum text has both German and English, so you can still get a lot of that really great information. So once you've learned about the farming and the basics of chocolate, it's time to see it all in action. You're then invited a look in at the actual machines and chocolate makers while they work. So another thing that's really fun is they have a trivia game while you go through that you can play on your phone. It's a QR code that you scan at the beginning of the museum, and then it asks you questions in the order you'll be able to find them, and then it wraps up here in the chocolate factory with the final questions being about the chocolate making process while you can see all those machines at work. So some of the really cool features that are open to everyone is the chocolate fountain, and it's way larger than any of the chocolate fountains you're used to seeing, and an employee will give you a little wafer dipped in the fountain chocolate, and it's obviously so good and so cool. They also have a little like robot arm chocolate grabber where you can literally push a button and a big robotic arm will grab a piece of chocolate right off the assembly line and slide it down a little chute, and you'll be able to grab it, the dispensed chocolate, which is obviously so fun to do. So there's multiple levels, and this is and they even have an entire exhibit of crazy chocolate sculptures that they have made in the past, and that was definitely reminding me of the chocolate palace from Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. They do have a lot of other experiences that you can do, like making your own sculptures and chocolate, and we wanted to do them, but I don't believe they offer them in English. And honestly, we had done a lot of fun experiences like this on our trip. So we didn't do any experiences here per se, but you can order a custom made chocolate bar for only €5. So we definitely took advantage of this. You can pick 5 toppings or ingredients for your chocolate bar, and then you hand in your order slip. It takes about half an hour to 40 minutes, and then you can pick it up and pay for it downstairs. So of course there are tastings offered as well, but we just did our own tasting with our little chocolate bar and the other treats that we got throughout our visit. So of course there's also a gift shop where you can get all sorts of crazy chocolates and gifts. They also have a cafe where you can get even more sweet treats. So chocolate lovers, this is definitely a must see stop for you guys. So we had a blast here, and I'm really proud of our self-control. I think the only thing we got was our little custom-made chocolate bar. So props to us. After that, we walked through town to see the Lovelock Bridge. So maybe you've heard of these. They're all over Europe, and Cologne was no exception. They had an insane amount of locks on the bridge. And Brandon even told me that he heard that sometimes the weight of the locks is enough to cause structural damage to the bridges. And apparently part of the sentiment is that you throw your key into the lake, which of course is littering. So I'm sorry, guys, we did not put a lock on the bridge, but I guess we'll just have to stick with our marriage and our vows to each other to know we're committed for life. Boring. So after the bridge, we did some exploring and we started to get hungry since we didn't fill up on chocolate at this point. So I don't know why, but our dining experience just felt so perfect and very German is just the best way that I can describe it. We went to this huge beer house with so many little side rooms and whatnot. And we thought we were supposed to seat ourselves, but I don't think we were. So a waiter saw us looking very confused and he sat us down. So something to be aware of in German culture when you go out to a restaurant, it's pretty normal to be seated with other people. So like we were looking around and we looked confused. And when the waiter brought us to our table, there were already 2 other people sitting there. And that's pretty common. You're not really expected to make small talk. Like obviously we weren't going to because we don't speak German, but I think it's pretty implied that you just kind of keep to yourself. The US tends to do more of the talking and getting to know people. In Germany and most places Europe, you kind of just like keep to yourself. So you might remember at the beginning of the video I mentioned the beer Kölsch. So we had a lot of fun at this beer house because we walked in and we sat down, and I think this was one of the only places that didn't have the menu in English, so we had to like take pictures on our phone and try and translate it. So our waiter came over and we were like kind of flustered because like we didn't know what to get yet. And our waiter did speak English, but like we were trying to be like nice and concise and order things how we should. So Brandon just looks at him and he goes, beer? And the guy's like, beer? And then he points at me, he's like, beer? And I was like, yeah. So he left. And, I was waiting for him to be like, okay, like, duh, it's a beer house. Like, what kind of beer do you want? Because, anywhere in the US you go, there's like all the ones on tap, and then there's even more bottles. But he literally was just like, beer, beer. And then he left and he came back and he brought us two Kölsches and he gave us like a little paper coaster and he like marked like one on each of our coasters for the beer that we were getting. So this like massive, massive brew house only serves one kind of beer, Kölsch, and that is it. And I was fact checking myself for this video just to make sure, like, the waiter wasn't just being nice and just not making us decide. But it looks like on their website that is the only kind of beer that they serve. So if I'm wrong, someone call me out. But to my understanding of the website and what it was saying, it explicitly said that people will come together to drink Kölsch, and that is it. So in addition to our Kölsch, we got more traditional German foods. Brandon got a mushroom schnitzel, and I got a dish called Himmel und Erde, which is heaven and earth, which is like applesauce and mashed potatoes. And then I think mine came with pork, but it's typically like a sausage or a meat of sorts. And I loved it. I love like the savory, sweet type stuff. So that was really good. I really enjoyed all the food we had in Cologne. So I'm sorry for my terrible pronunciation, but the place that we went to was called FRÜH Dom, which translates to early at the cathedral. But if you guys are going to Cologne, I would highly recommend stopping at this beer house. It's really iconic. It's from 1904. It's just a great, great example of a very traditional German place. This is probably stupid, and I think I've already said it in the Euro series, but something that's been really fun for us, especially coming from the United States, is, like in the US, we have a lot of like replicas of other places. So, like, you go to Vegas and there's like the Paris casino and whatnot. So, as weird as this sounds, this beer house kind of reminded me of Busch Gardens. And like when you're in like the German section, they have like a big like cafe, like cafeteria type thing. And I know that that's kind of silly, but like it's just really fun for us to go to the places that like all of these replicas are inspired after, all the food's inspired after. So we've just been having an absolute blast, like, checking out all these original places and like real life places. So Cologne is turning out to be really the undiscovered gem that we thought it would be. If you guys are going to Cologne, I would highly recommend doing both the Chocolate Museum, the factory, and the FRÜH Dom. They're both really fun. You'll have a great time. And as I said before, FRÜH Dom means early in the cathedral. And next week, we will be at the cathedral in which it is in reference to. So make sure you like and subscribe so you can come along with us for that. It's really cool. You won't want to miss it. And I will see you guys next week back here in Cologne. Thank you so much for watching. We absolutely love wandering with you guys, and I will see you guys next week. Bye.